God's sakes. Tiny has to get ahead, but I don't know if it goes long enough now. They've got a real big problem. Scotty coming out would be pretty good here.
These heroes are very flexible on 5-man, where they have Tiny, who can be ran at mid, off lane, position 4. Same goes for Medusa, mid, or the safe lane. We even see Doom most of the time lately just being played at the mid lane. So everything's still opened up for them. On the other side, Bloodseeker and Windranger. This is something that Team Secret ran, and it's extremely good combo. Like these two heroes, you have a guaranteed lockdown, shackle shot into his W.
A guaranteed lockdown, you said.
I mean, if you're
guaranteed.
good. Guaranteed if you're good. Sorry about that one. I mean, it's a stun, you know.
Is it? Is it a stun, or is it a bait? Is it a stun, Lacoste?
What happened with you and Windranger?
What happened with Windranger's win rate over the course of the entirety of Dota 2's existence? Not much. Still below 50%, as it always has been.
Petition to renamer to lose Ranger.
You ever go... What's your favorite casino game to play, Rich?
It's between blackjacks.
Black.
Jeez, I am actually having a brain injury.
Right.
Blackjack and craps.
Yes, yes. Why is that, though?
Because I like to lose when I play blackjack, and I like to win when I play craps.
That's right. You have to measure the...
You have to balance it out, right? Winning is not fun if you only win. Losing is not fun if you only lose. You need a little bit of both. That's why Windranger's so essential.
No.
It balances out the Dota universe. I believe in the lore. Aghanim once said, there cannot be...
up right now. No, Rich, you like craps because it gives you the most control. It gives you the house has least of a chance. Windranger's roulette. You think it's 50-50. It's black or red. But no, there's always the green.
Green, yeah.
Yep.
There's
and she
always
is a green.
Yes. There's always the chance to miss that shackle. There's no black and red. It tricks you, Rich. You're a craps man. You know, you're revenge.
When I say I'm a craps man, I have a story about that movie that I can't tell on the panel.
So we do have that Drow Ranger ban, as Lacoste was talking about. Terrorblade, however, still seems to be in the pool. Interesting last pick, Ruby Tuesday. Hello. Okay. This is an issue. Still, I mean, who is getting on top of these heroes, Lacoste? Are they just going for full late game, or what's the deal here? I'm too dumb.
You just want to see someone kill the Oracle. That's it. Like, just take him out first, no matter what.
It's very important. If you don't kill Oracle in this fight,
it is,
you
but
got
they
a
have a
problem.
lot of sustain on this lineup.
Sure.
There's no burst damage, so they can't really kill Medusa. Medusa's not threatened by these 4 heroes, so they need some kind of a possibly mana burn hero that deals well with Medusa.
Why
there's
they banned Animate.
Phantom Lancer in the pool, even though I don't think Phantom Lancer is a top tier carry at the moment. Their AoE damage is kind of limited.
Yeah.
PL's had a tough tournament for sure.
It depends. The only thing, again, that I see PL's winning against is Timbersaw. People pick that Timbersaw thinking that they'll be able to tear him down, and then they usually rush first item Diffusal, and then it's a walk and creep. So I think almost every PL game that we've seen so far, there's been an enemy Timbersaw in it. So anyway, they're going to go for the Terrorblade as expected. We thought it'd be either Terrorblade or Drow. And the question is, though, you got these 2 big Scotty boys. Who's going to win that fight?
Who's going to get it first? That's the question.
The race to Scotty.
Eye of Scotty just completely ruins the range heroes.
These odds are about as even as we've seen them, which makes this all the more interesting. On EGB.com, it looks like they're just about even, just a few small points off, making it slightly in favor of NaVi. But I want to talk about the Bloodseeker just a little bit more before I get your overall opinion on how these teams are going to win, guys.
Yeah.
I feel like the Bloodseeker, the second that we saw the changes, the second that we saw the patch notes, it was really fogged. It was like, I think Blood
Garbage.
is going to be insane. Now we start to see it a lot. Some teams it has looked like a fistful of hot garbage. Other teams it's looked absolutely incredible. What's your take on this hero right now, especially once you are able to pair it up with things like the Windranger?
When I first saw the hero and the changes, I was like, yeah, this hero is not usable. He needs a complete rework, and then someone shows you that this hero is actually viable. I don't think it's a good Bloodseeker game. He does not have that one hero that he wants to kill, especially against Medusa, she's just going to stand her ground. That's what she does. Like, you use Rupture on her, she uses Stone Gaze. That's pretty much it. Doesn't care too much about it. But for the laning stage, it's extremely strong lane. Me and Fog played it the other day a couple of times, Bloodseeker and Windranger. Like, you just completely zone them out. The amount of magical damage you do in this lane, and Pure, of course, is just too much for sustain.
And I think Slack's already said it. One of the big things we're going to be looking for is whether or not they're going to be able to get on top of the Oracle on the side of 5 men. Will 5 men be able to get on top of them? We're going to find out right now.
Natus Vincere. Five men. Fight!
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the first cast of the day. That's when we have that slow start. You know, we're just waking up, but an exciting match to start things off. NaVi versus 5 men. I think this is going to be pretty good, Lizard.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the better matches here in the Divine League, right?
Are you implying that there are worse matches?
No, I respect every team that's in the Divine League the same, unlike some other casters that I have seen work
Check
over
yourself. Yeah, how dare you talk about Slacks like that? It is honestly. All right, guys, let's get into it, shall we? As we have a Medusa lineup, the second time that NaVi has, we've seen a Medusa in these last 2 days. NaVi was actually the ones to take the Medusa just yesterday, and they did it in a very similar situation, Lizard. They picked it up against the Ember Spirit.
Yeah, it looks like a pretty decent Medusa game overall. One hero that I really want to talk about even more, however, is the last pick from 5 men. I think this is a really good Rubik game. Bloodseeker, like they mentioned, is really strong. Anything you steal from him, especially this Blood Rite, is so good on Rubik. Yeah, it's just so good.
Oh, okay, so we're actually going to be having side lane Medusa, mid Tiny. Oh, of course, because we have the Tiny. Forgot that we are actually, lost track of our cores. So Chess is going to be playing that mid lane matchup against the Ember Spirit, which I presume, like, I think this... I don't know how you feel about Bloodseeker right now, Lizard, but I've been thoroughly unimpressed. It only looks good, in my opinion, when it's a really good Bloodseeker game. And that was kind of like the first time we saw it, it ended up being matched up against Oracle Huskar 2 times in a row.
Yep.
It looked really good, and everybody's like, oh, sick, this Bloodseeker hero, fantastic. But ever since then, I haven't seen another, like, good Bloodseeker game, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I feel like it's just not being picked up in the right areas.
I agree with you completely, but I still think that this Blood Rage in most of those games wasn't really utilized as well as it could have been. And overall, I think the hero has really high potential. Just the amount of buffs that he brings to the table with Blood Rage plus Veil build is really sick.
Yeah.
So the thing is, the hero itself won't do a lot, but it will empower one core to be that incredible damage dealer.
Sure. And then maybe the sum of what we're talking about is just the inherent problem of having Bloodseeker as the offlaner, right?
Yep.
You're just naturally not going to get that very late into the draft, so therefore you don't necessarily know what your laning matchups are a lot of times. Here we're going to see the Medusa put in the side lane against it, which I assume is going to be fine. Medusa always does pretty well against melee heroes, and also probably isn't going to be taking a whole lot of damage and getting those thirst levels over to the Bloods.
Yeah, that lane should be overall good for 5 men. I'm not sure how he will do in the CS department once you get a raid band or 2 on Bloodseeker or whatever he hopes to go for first.
Okay, maybe we spoke too soon, as Posh is just laying into Ace right now, and he may not die, but he's going to be really low on mana now.
Yeah, that can only happen if you're too aggressive on Radiant. Like that Medusa Ace was there to try and pressure Immersion. That's why he got so low.
Is he actually going to die here? They're going to be able to just run him down to first blood. Okay, take back everything we said. I don't know how that happened.
Who are these garbage casters? Throw them out, please.
Seriously, what happened? Like, we left the lane. We see Medusa, full mana, full health. Come back, and all of a sudden Bloodseeker's just fearlessly chasing her down. She's got no mana left.
Okay, so there are some lanes that you expect a team to win. But if that team is too aggressive, they can obviously get punished if they don't land the kill. They try to land a kill on Immersion there on the Windranger, and I can't blame them because they do have heroes that do that well. but then they just got punished afterwards. They were out of position.
Yeah, that reminds me of, we saw like a Drow Ranger versus Void Spirit matchup that didn't go so well, and I was like, man, I thought that was going to go well. Then we see it another time, and it ends up going fine. Chessie, Fairy Fire will save his life. Young G has a healing salve coming in from the Courier, so they're both going to be okay here.
Chessie has a couple of mangoes to pop as well. Pylai, you can see he goes with the enchant on this lane. It's actually pretty solid. You can you take off Blood Rage? I suppose you can, but most importantly in this lane it's the Wind Run from Wind Ranger. You can dispel it, and Immersion can't really trade hits as easily as he usually would like to on this hero.
Right, right. Maybe this just comes down to the strength of this lane as a duo, just period, right? Wind Ranger, Bloodseeker, we saw before. This was like the second combo I think we saw with the Bloodseeker. The first one was Bloodseeker Tiny. It looks quite nice, where you've just got this like really high amount of damage that comes in from the Wind Ranger, constant harassment, a shackle shot sets up a Blood Right perfectly. A lot of good things that happen here.
Yeah, this lane we didn't really touch upon at all. I actually like the Oracle versus Rubik quite a bit for Oracle. Just because of the Fade Bolt, if nothing else. You can always dispel it from your core, and he won't suffer from that minus damage to when it comes to farming, that is.
Yeah, and you're one of the few fight positions once you get to like level 3 that can actually go toe-to-toe with the Rubik and when it just comes to burst damage, right? Rubik usually trades really well with people because he's like, Fade Bolt, right-click, right-click, right-click. Ooh, they're getting aggressive on Crystallize. He pops the meta, tossing him back into Zibe here. It's going to be a close call, but it's looking like Zibe is going to go down first because of the Oracle.
Yeah, that's exactly what you said. That's the level 3 Oracle. And when you said Oracle is the best when it comes to that. Oh, Enchantress.
Not going to be healed up enough, Pasha.
Look,
think they too. Nice deny. Okay, well done.
Whenever you look at Navi's lineup, you have to understand that Pasha is who they built this whole team around as players. And when it comes to drafts, I think it's really important for them to enable him, and so far they did that.
There it is. Done. Shackle shot into the Blood Right. The Centaur gets in the way of things, but still a hefty amount of damage done there. Maybe part of it, maybe the Bloodseeker's just able to deal with the Mystic Snake a lot better than anticipated. You know, if he just doesn't take enough damage that he's able... That's always the problem with Bloodseeker, right? You have to threaten him enough that he has to back away from the creep wave. Otherwise, he's not, you know, like, he's constantly going to be healing up. Especially with Blood Rage now just giving you free health.
And you can't do it on this lane, right? It's fine. This is it. The Raid Band, Ring of Protection. Naturally, this hero has a lot of armor. And when he buys even more, it's not like Ace is going to be able to harass him constantly. You can try, but he'll just heal, like you said.
Chessie waits for the Fate's Edict to calm down there, but didn't have enough damage to be able to bring down Ilias. Pylai Die coming in with a haste rune. Not much he could do.
Should be careful here.
Yeah, his haste is going to run out here in a second. And Young G is going to have to, like, it's going to be too long of a chase, right?
You can't even use Flame there, right?
Yeah.
He has that enchant. He'll slow you, he'll dispel it. Yeah, just go back to the lane.
Yeah, this Enchantress has a lot of good things, right? There's so many good dispels here, and then on top of that, you get the Terrorblade illusion as well.
She has a lot of good things. At the same time, there's a lot of burst coming from Navi. And at one point, this Wind Ranger can just solo you with her ultimate, right?
Yeah.
Because she doesn't care about untouchable, so... Pylai Die early on will have a very easy game. Later on, it can get a little bit rough.
We're seeing a lot of teams do this right now. The Siege Wagon push into the mid lane, trying to make a heavy rotation, sometimes just one support or two, and other times we see like safe lane cores rotating over even just to ensure a good hefty amount of damage. Chessie, though, got to be careful not overextending himself because Navi certainly are going to defend this tower as they're no novices to this. They've done it themselves a few times, and you could see 5 heroes.
5 heroes, yeah. That's a lot of heroes committed, however. That's everything you have when it comes to Navi. That means Doom is free farming and pressuring your top tier 1. Luckily enough for them, Medusa, yeah, he's farming, but he wasn't able to really threaten the tower or clip it a little bit at least. Top, however, it's gone.
Yep. So I thought for a second maybe they were going to use the meta to try and threaten mid tower to like force rotations over, but instead our Terrorblade just focusing on his own farm right now. Probably wanted out of that top lane anyway, as the Doom was going to be picking up his level 6 quite soon.
I wouldn't mind if that happened, but at the same time, when you're thinking about the grand scheme, you're still investing 5 heroes on the same lane for a prolonged period of time, and you might not even get that tower. So it's better for TB to just go back and farm.
Sure. And, we've got some Veils being picked up here. Bloodseeker and like both of our offlaners, Doom and Bloodseeker.
Wait, did Doom buy Veil?
I thought so. And I was like a little bit taken aback. Maybe I missaw it though. Can we see Doom? Oh yeah.
Something's flying to him.
Out
it's drums or Veil.
Yeah, like everybody goes drums, so I was like, oh, that's a little weird. Maybe I just need glasses.
After the drums have been nerfed, no one really knows which item to buy at that slot, right?
You're missing 2 extra stats. It's like still good item. It's just individually it feels a little worse, right? Team fight wise, it's great. Pull back here with the telekinesis. Pasha is probably going to be dying here as Ilias doesn't have his level 6. In fact, Ilias, who had already used his Fate's Edict to try and help the Bloodseeker, just gets run down by the Doom pretty easily. And they're going to get the mid tower here. 5 men. They're getting a lot of early objectives.
And it's confirmed. It's Veil, by the way, on the Doom. And I like this quite a lot. When you think about Doom, like, he benefits quite a bit from that item. It's pretty solid.
Nice rotation. I like that. Just moving into the triangle, and then as a result, they get the Ember Spirit kill, but I feel like that was more just to like kind of take over that ancient area, see if the TB's around here, push him out, make sure he's not getting farmed.
That ward as well is so important for them. When you think about it, you have this Tiny. He will have a very early dagger. He's been mid, right? He should have it at least. And once he gets that, he can solo the TB even if TB is like on 60% HP. One jump with the full maxed out nuke, you get that TB. He has high armor, but not a lot of HP.
Free Bloodright Steel. Misery, though, is going to be ruptured up here, standing inside of his own Bloodright. The Ember Spirit's going to commit for the kill, though, and don't think there's anything they can do to stop this on the other side of things, though. Tiny, I think he tried to get aggressive a little bit, but couldn't do enough damage. Zibe's going to be cutting over here. Doesn't get hit by the Bloodright, though, so he's good. 4 heroes here from NaVi, but a 3,000 net worth lead, and on top of that, I think one of my favorite things about Medusa Lizard, it is one of those very, very strong, you know, BSJ may hate me for this, but dead lane heroes in the idea that it is a hero that you plant in a lane and you don't feel good about rotating into it, right? Lifestealers, Juggernauts, Medusas, you don't feel the greatest about trying to get that gank in order to open up that tower. And rotation from Chessie here is going to be able to find Pasha, and it's a freebie.
Yeah, that's why this tier 1 on the bottom lane is still standing. Not only because of that, because if you think about NaVi and how this draft is supposed to work at the moment, it's mostly about getting pickoffs and kills. You don't really have any tower taking capabilities. Terrorblade, he needs to join if you want to take an objective, which is a little bit problematic for NaVi right now.
Yeah.
I like this Veil overall on Doom. The only problem is also the movement speed, right? Drums are pretty good when it comes to that.
Yeah. 5 men trying to protect old Chessie here is just going to get gone on, and nobody's around. That's fine, I think.
Trying to protect by running back deeper.
Yeah, I just watched the people in the jungle and everybody's like, never mind, Chessie.
Yeah, Chessie is the only one that has been on the receiving end of these NaVi pickoffs, right? Like on the mid lane, but he's also the one that's playing the deepest on the map, in those zones, the red zones I call them, the ones that are the most difficult to play in. However, I would like to see 5-man give him some safer space, just so he can finish off that dagger.
Yeah.
Once he finishes that dagger, it's much easier for him to play wherever he wants to.
So they finally do get their first tower on the side of NaVi. They take that safe lane, which, you know, you kind of expect to see eventually. Teams are just going to eventually give that up, even if they protect it initially. And this coincides with the Medusa completing that Midas. So she was just kind of like, guys, I almost have my Midas. I don't want to fight right now. This item timing's really important.
Yeah, even if we defend, there's that 20% chance I die defending. that delays the Midas for a minute and a half. It's not worth it.
Yeah, and all important right up against a Terrorblade who very likely is going to pick up speed and stay ahead of you because it's an illusion hero. It's very hard to keep up with an illusion hero when it comes to net worth. But if you're on an even net worth, Medusa's going to feel really good in a one-on-one matchup.
It's a funny matchup overall, historically. TB versus Medusa. It has changed a lot throughout the years, so that would have shackled me. If I was eBay, it would shackle some tree around, or it would shackle the bloody outpost, I swear.
Sounds like some regular Dota excuses. To make up for the lack of drums mobility, our Doom's just going to be trying to get the Blink Dagger as quick as possible after the Veil, which allow him to get those good initiations onto Ember Spirit or the TB. One problem he has to worry about, though, and I always hate this about Doom versus Oracle matchup, is that you feel like you're so countered by that hero that sometimes you have to Doom the Oracle at the start of a fight instead. And that's just, you know, dooming a 5 position.
And now when you get 2 Blink Daggers on the side of 5 men, you'll also work with Tiny, so you will communicate in these team fights. One of you jumps the Oracle, the other jumps the target that's necessary.
Right.
That's a core that's necessary to take down, and I think you can work around it, but Oracle, yeah, definitely, I agree, is a little bit hard to play against as Doom.
And did we talk about Enchantress versus Oracle, too? Those dispels are really strong, right? We got Fate's Edict as well as Purifying Flames. You can take down the healing aspect. Even when he pops his ultimate on somebody, you could take away that healing, which results in a significant amount of loss.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Like that's why something like a Shadow Demon, even though it's countered in the lane, is considered one of the better heroes versus Oracle later on as the game progresses. But so far, so good, I would say, for both of these teams. They're playing like the way they would like to. I don't think NaVi could have expected, okay, maybe a little bit of a better laning stage, but you really don't have tower taking capabilities, so getting that 1 tier 1 for now is good enough. I'm just not sure how this TB versus Medusa will pan out soon. Let's see.
Chessie, because he was silenced, didn't feel comfortable even with his allies behind him.
Yeah, but Pasha is the one going for mech, for Greaves even.
Yeah, we've I'm always kind of curious here because it just seems like everyone with this Bloodseeker, they go the Veil, and I've been trying to think, like, is there other offensive options for a Bloodseeker past that? Because then everyone just goes Greaves afterwards. Everyone just goes normal, like, off-lane sort of sustain items.
Yeah, when you think about what you're supposed to be doing as the offlaner overall in the game, right? And what your role in this game is, it's pretty much full utility, so why not go full utility when it comes to the item build as well? Something like a Yule's, I suspect wouldn't be that bad if your team is lacking lockdown. But Navi, you have a couple of roots, if nothing else, and the Shackle Shot should be good enough.
I'd be curious to see if anybody will try rushing the Aghanim Scepter faster after you get Veil. It seems like everyone gets it as a third item. Ace is going to get off the Stone Gaze here, but he is in big time trouble. He does have enough mana to be able to TP home, and they are out of disables. So that is a pretty big smoke gank that goes awry here for Navi, but Young G's not going to give up just yet. Misses out on the catch there onto Misery, which would have led into the Blood Right. Instead, he misses the kill, and Chessie strikes, able to get Ilias crystallized, cutting through behind the tower here. Misery looks to be able to jump away, but didn't jump fast enough. He had stolen the Remnants. The toss back, though, onto Crystallize into the Doom. Now, with the meta, he can still fight back here, but he's going to be taking so much damage, and without the Oracle to be able to bail him out, he will eventually die. Pasha, who tried to go for the deny, is now going to be up next on the chopping block. Fortunately, he's fast enough that he just goes the other direction. And 5 men who are looking for the kills onto Navi weren't able to get it. 6,000 net worth lead, but very even odds here on the EGB.
Yeah, so I was talking, just before that smoke happened, I was talking about the disables that Navi have got. Yeah, you do have some, but they're all telegraphed, and because of that, Medusa finds it simple to just use her ulti and get out. That's a problem that I really do see again with Navi's draft. You don't have those instant disables. You don't have Rubik Lift, right? You don't have a fissure, nothing like that. Tiny jumping in and comboing you down. That can be very problematic when you're doing these kind of plays. I think they need to... it's hard to say. It looks like they need to just fight around objectives and take objectives, but at the same time they don't have objective-taking heroes besides Terrorblade, so it's a difficult draft to execute overall.
And Terrorblade, like you're talking about, like Terrorblade is such a commitment, right? To going for a tower, and then you could just as easily be rebuked by this Medusa kind of standing in front of the tower going, okay, try and go through me, see what happens. So it definitely feels like NaVi, which is why they tried to make this big smoke ink, right? They kill the Medusa, they pop the meta, they can easily take that tower. But because it was drawn out, they didn't kill the Medusa, then things get bad.
I have to say as well, I like that Zibe in the end didn't go for the blink, but went for the BKB. When you have a hero that's going to initiate for you, such as Tiny, sometimes the blink is just redundant. You don't really need it. You're so fast as Doom because of Scorched Earth and Phase Boots. Yeah, he doesn't have drums here, but you're almost maxed out anyway.
Can we check out the talent? That's not the movement speed talent, right?
No, it's not.
Yeah, he
didn't take it.
What is the other one?
+3 Doom seconds, I think.
Okay.
+3 seconds of Doom.
Yeah. It's funny. I thought, like, what I really love about Doom right now is, compared to the previous patch, you can get both the Scorched Earth talents. And I think that feels so strong.
But the thing is, that's how... 2 seconds, actually, not 3. Interesting. Damn, I was sure it was 3. Whatever.
It might have been. Yeah. I think it actually was maybe a level 15 talent when it was 3 seconds or something.
Yeah, it could be that. In any case, like you said, the 2 Scorched Earth talents are really good. At the same time, the talents on the opposite sides of those talents are also really nice. Doom is one of those heroes that's kind of spoiled when it comes to talents, because your level 15 talent on the other side of the Scorched Earth talent is gold, GPM, 120 on your Devour.
It's pretty big.
It's pretty big. If you're having a bad game, that's a no-brainer. You just go for that.
Yeah, it all just kind of depends on, like, you're right. There is a wealth of options available for Doom, because he can decide if he wants to be more of a mid-game threat with the double Scorched Earth talent, or if he wants to be more of, like, build into sort of a late-game Doom, which the Devour bonus gold really helps out in that. Or if you're having a bad game and you need to recover, you know, plenty of options here. And it feels like NaVi don't really have a whole lot of options right now. Down 7,000 net worth to 5 men, and mostly just playing for farm on the Terrorblade. That's about it. They haven't really been able to crack 5 men just yet and really take some important objectives like that mid tower.
I hate to agree with Slacks, but the immersion on this Wind Ranger right now feels like a range creep with a vessel. Give this range creep a vessel and he's gonna do as much as immersion at the moment. Like, okay, I'm being a little bit too harsh on him, definitely, but he needs this blink. It's not that he needs it, his team needs him to have this blink, because it's only the Ember that's able to get in front and just chain someone, but that's not gonna stop a Medusa from using her ulti. That's not gonna stop a Doom from BKBing, Tiny from comboing you down. They need that blink as soon as possible.
And it definitely feels like a primary reason why 5 men were able to gain so much ground is that they did have that mid laner who was able to pick up a blink dagger and have, like, very clear kill opportunities on most of NaVi. He opens up a few kills, they start taking some objectives, they get more map control. That just kind of leads to a net worth advantage here. But NaVi still doing, I think one of the important things here is the camp stacked. When you're in this position where you can't break objectives, we saw Liquid do very well in that regard, where they just kind of like hold up on their side and stacked and stacked.
They just always stacked. Like, that's a team that, if there's a thing that needs to be studied in the game, they will study it. They will get it done, you know, like how a team stacks, where a team wards, all these nerd things, they're gonna nail them. Like Chessie nailing the, that initiation.
That range creep got. Blink Dagger now for Zibe. So not only does he have the follow-through, that's what I love about BKB. Gives you the follow-through, right? You doom somebody, and you pop your BKB, you doom somebody, and you can actually feel confident you can run them down. Whereas without that, maybe sometimes you get disabled, there's too much magic damage or something.
Exactly, that's what BKB really allows you to do. You don't... There are items that are good, other items that are good for Doom, but after BKB. Like that BKB as the second item is almost always the best choice. Blink, BKB, or BKB, Blink.
Now, one thing about this is a very much all-in single-core lineup for NaVi, I think. With the Blood Rage amp on a TB with an Oracle behind it, they are making this TB. Sure, he's 3,000 net worth behind the Medusa, but with the abilities behind him, he may actually be much scarier than the Medusa at this point, as he just picked up the Heaven's Halberd, and now they're going to take a 4 versus 5 after a pick-off on Pi.
That's actually all great, but when you're playing a single core versus, let's call it a single core versus Zibe's Doom, can be problematic.
Yeah, certainly. Zibe, he's going to be ruptured up, so Pasha does a good job canceling hit, but Chessie tossed back once again onto the Terrorblight, trying to get him out of position. Instantly, Ilias is there with a save, but he's taking so much. He's not going to be getting out of here alive. And yeah, I mean, you said the Doom. Well, he got countered by the Rupture, but Chessie too. He had his eyes on the one person who matters most in this team fight.
Yeah. When you look at it, he has a blink, right, on Doom as well now. That's really good. Like when you consider that NaVi is all about buffing up this TB, having that blink to get on top of him now, to use that. He didn't use it in that last fight, don't get me wrong, but still, it gives you a good option.
Yeah.
Maybe a Linken's on someone on the side of NaVi is good. Maybe Young G is buying it. I see an ultimate orb over there already.
Dude, that is so scary. That fight went really bad for NaVi, right? They hit a certain timing, and they're like, okay, it's go time. Ace didn't have his MKB before.
Yep.
So now he's got MKB against some of the evasion of the Terrorblade. He's going to be pumping out way more damage than he did last team fight.
Yeah, but we're just saying... I know analysts overall don't like to harp a lot about drafts, but we're just seeing some faults in this NaVi's lineup in which they weren't able to even threaten this tier 1 for 24 minutes. 24 minutes in, the tier 1 tower is still standing from Radiant. How are you gonna smoke? Where are you going even with it? You're always gonna run into one of the supports, and both of them are bad targets for you.
Yeah, I feel like they're... Watching some of these where the Immortal and Divine teams are clashing up against each other, you can see a difference in priorities that really shows what is more successful right now. I think Fly to Moon last night, Fly to Moon versus Ninjas the Pajamas was actually a good example of that, where Fly to Moon, like from my understanding of the meta right now, they had like a better idea of like what objectives were important to take, and as a result, I felt like they had more clear win conditions for both. Actually, almost for all 3 of their games, but...
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I think I was casting that with Owen, and the game that they lost, they were just too confident. They were just diving way too hard throughout the game. No disrespect to NIP, who played that team really well as well.
Yeah, they're a very good team.
Yes.
They're still in the playoffs, and... Did you see that Saberlight tweet? God, I thought that was godly.
Yeah, I saw it.
He calls out Toby Dotes and from Viking. He's like, all those players who thought NIP stood for not in playoffs. You know, what a fool you are, because they are technically still in playoffs. They're in the Divine Division playoffs. I thought that was godly.
Saberlight, I like his Twitter.
Like, you know, players that are able to put out a personality like that, you know,
cool.
If you're playing the heel, you know, like, you know, that's one thing. If you're able to play more like what Insania, or in that case, like with that tweet, Saberlight, more, you know, like clowning on yourself, like, you know, like any kind of personality you put out there, people are going to be interested more in your players and more in your team.
Why do people watch Tier 1 Dota? It's not only about the godly plays. It's about the personalities as well. You see Miracle, you know about him, you've followed him, you see you followed all these players.
Yeah,
right?
if you're following them and you like maybe they don't put themselves out there the best, but you do eventually get to know who they are.
Exactly. And if you're in Tier 2 team and you're not winning, people have to get to know you somehow.
Yeah.
So why not at least put your personality out there? It will make your games more interesting for everyone. And you will have more viewers and people will take you more seriously, if nothing because of that. It's I just think more players should do that.
Sure. That's why I think it was really cool when Viking GG, like they do their like little smack talk, we're take down OG, you know, and stuff. Like it takes a certain, like, in a way, like some people are gonna say that's just full of ego, you know. But I feel like more likely you're willing to let your ego take a hit in that situation because you're putting yourself out there to be clowned on. Preemptively, you're going to say, we're going to dumpster OG, and then you get dumpstered. Like, you know that's a possibility. You know people are going to be clowning on you, but it was interesting.
Okay, you might be a clown, but you'll be the most known clown in the town. It's a win-win situation for them. Come on.
Well, you know who's coming to town right now? It is the 5 men, and Ace in the front right now. They've already taken down that tier 3. And even though they don't have the Scotty, they're like, we got this Aegis. Let's see if we can make some use to it. They kind of force NaVi back inside their base and say, okay, good enough.
It's not the easiest team to push high ground into, but once you have that Aegis, obviously you're not worried as much. Have to be a little bit careful because TB will always stand behind his Raxes. You won't be able to get on top of him, toss him out. And this is an important item for NaVi. Young G did get that Lincoln's, but I think he's just gonna pop it on Crystallize overall.
Yeah. Do you think Young G is gonna try and use that Lincoln's more on the TB? Or is he gonna be greedy and protect himself?
That's actually very interesting because if TB has meta already up and all his illusions up, you don't really want to use it on him, right?
Yeah,
like, you'd rather keep it. But we saw what happened in the last fight.
Yeah. It is kind of weird. It's like, normally TB is not a hero that you think of very threatened by Doom, but in a losing team fight, him not having Sunder is devastating. Yeah. In a winning team fight, well, it doesn't make a difference. He's still just a right-clicking hero at that point. So it does come down to a question of, like, does some decision-making and what you think is going to be the priority here. NaVi, they are going to smoke up.
Yeah, Aegis is out.
Aegis is out. This is the best opportunity they are going to have. But it comes in as some critical items are making their way to 5 men. They have the Aghanim Scepter on the Tiny, and I think the Scotty was done from the Medusa, or at least it's very close.
I think it's done, yeah.
It is.
It's completed.
Oh, and he got level 20. That is a big power spike for Medusa as well.
Yeah, Ace is running after Misery, trying to give him that telescope. Misery is running away, but he got it. It's also a massive item for the Rubik. Or Enchantress. Either one of these two can carry it.
Yeah.
When it comes to neutral items, it's one of the best ones for these two heroes. Plus it's an aura, so you don't even care which one of these two carries it. It's still good.
I like this. This is very cool from NaVi, setting up this trap on the high ground here in the triangle, because you don't really expect people to just kind of be sitting there. The problem is going to be is if it's the Medusa who runs up in that area, then you're probably not happy with that.
And it's not going to work because just simple elimination. If you look at the wards from Radiant, they're all on the right side.
Yep.
If no one is on the right side and no one is defending their Raxes, which are being attacked right now by the creeps, you can kind of guess where they are. You don't have to be a mathematician.
Yeah, you just kind of hole it out around your tier 1 tower. And eventually they're going to go for smoke themselves here. Pushing in that mid lane now. NaVi should know about this because of the Fade Bolt. They're instantly going to break the smoke and try and blink themselves away. They still managed to get the Doom onto the TB. He got the meta out, though. At the same time, the Rubik, who kind of jumped in, quickly dies. Ace, though, with his Scotty pursuing against these heroes. This TB is getting slowed down so much. They need to be able to bail him out here so the Doom can go away. And now he's going to be able to get off the Sunder, bringing the Medusa low. He still has a little bit more mana to work with. He's trying to get away with that extra movement speed. But Young G is going to be on the hunt here, looking to catch up. The Aghanim Scepter toss out from Chessie, trying to protect his Medusa. But a Blink's coming in soon, and Pasha, a low health hero, means that nice catch onto Chessie as well. They managed to stop him, and just like that, NaVi might still be able to turn the game around with one really big win.
Damn, good job, NaVi. And Zibe, you can't Doom Crystallize anymore. When you think about it, he has the Titan Sliver and the Halberd. Like, he has so much status resistance. That Doom doesn't really last long enough for it to do anything in these team fights. Overall, that was really, really greedy from 5 men, the way they engaged.
They took the tier 3 and backed, right? Did Creeps take that full lane of barracks at bottom during that fight? Like, I know it was pushing in, but like...
they did. It wasn't only Creeps. Well, it was only Creeps, but one of those Creeps was Enchanted.
Oh, okay.
There was that as well.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you take a team fight, but you just lost your side. Oh, that doesn't feel great.
Yeah.
I think you're happy that you still took that fight. I think it's good for your morale coming into the late game as well and coming into these rush fights that are about to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it proves that you can actually win a team fight. Big part of that was being able to stall out the Doom, right? TB was able to, like, he spent a good amount of Doom time already, and then those last few seconds, he was given the Oracle ultimate. The Doom faded away. He was able to get off Sunder. That second life meant that he was able to stand toe-to-toe with the Medusa and actually beat her out.
Yeah, the question now comes, do you still Doom the TB? Or do you switch your priorities? Because Doom, if you don't Doom the TB, he'll still dish out so much damage that you'll have to retreat.
Yeah.
I think the way you fight this is you try to toss him closer to you, and then you just swarm on top of him.
That has been the winning situation for 5 men in all of these fights, is that Chassis has been able to get that nice toss back on the TB after the Doom. Another thing is they could probably do a better job trying to hunt down Ilias. I think that's maybe what Misery was looking for there. They do have the dust to be able to reveal, as poor Enchantress just dies on the low ground. And now
that Medusa spirit as well hitting so hard because of the TB. You know, like, this is what you said as well, that you mentioned. Yeah, you want Jesse to jump in and toss a target back. Let's just see this.
Zibe. If he didn't move very slightly there, he would have gotten shackled. Crystallize actually goes up the hill here, but a buyback coming out from the Enchantress, and NaVi start retreating. You could see Ace doesn't really take that much damage, stands pretty tall here, and still has the Stone Gaze to work with. So NaVi, this is really bad because now their meta's going to be on cooldown as Roche comes up.
Yeah, it's up in 20 seconds. This was really bad for them when you think about it. You committed the meta without getting the single kill. Well, Enchantress died before and you forced the buyback, but now Roshan is free game for 5 man.
Yeah.
You need to fight around it somehow.
TB, I mean, especially Scotty versus Scotty, right? It's going to look, your TB in melee form is going to look so bad against a Medusa in a team fight compared to that range form.
So I was about to flame the Tiny build a little bit because he went for that Aghanim's.
Yeah.
Zibe. So Aghanim's is really good here, don't get me wrong, but it makes you play a little bit differently.
Sure.
You don't have a BKB, so you're not really jumping in and tossing a target back. You're staying back and trying to utilize the full potential of that axe, right? And because of that, they're playing differently as a team. However, it's working out, so who cares?
No, I think that's a really good point. Like, you do change your playstyle, and that previous playstyle was working really nicely for you. AoE damage is going to come in, though. Crystallize, take it a bit. They do manage to get the Doom off on him. Ilias is behind this TB, though, so they should be perfectly fine. They can kind of reset. 60 seconds until meta. Roshan is up, and it makes me kind of wonder here, what is going to be the results of this? They don't have meta,
but they don't have Doom as well.
They don't have Doom. Are you willing to take a melee versus melee TB fight against the Medusa over this Roshan?
I think it's easy for 5 men to just put the Medusa inside with Enchantress, right? And they can hit Roche and just answer the aggression from NaVi, but it looks like they're just gonna run.
They're gonna chill for now, NaVi. They want to see inside this pit to make sure that, like you said, that the Enchantress and Medusa aren't taking it down by themselves. Beginning to get some damage onto Chessie, so this Aghanim's build will look a little bit better when it comes to the DPS output. Butterfly complete for the Medusa. Always a really big power spike in this matchup because TB.
Yeah, you don't want that MKB, do you?
No, you don't want to build MKB, so you're going to feel kind of bad about that. I almost wonder if he's at some point going to have to consider just a straight-up Divine Rapier.
He actually queued up MKB. Did he? I think he queued up MKB on TB after he saw that Butterfly completed. Yeah, there it is. I won't mind him just completing the Daedalus as well, but yeah, you need that MKB, definitely.
He's doing a good job right now, constantly throwing illusions to the bottom lane to keep it, keep those super creeps from threatening the tier 4s.
It's annoying though. It's so annoying to have to deal with that lane. And considering you didn't even fight to defend it, well, you did, but the creeps got it in the end.
TB, the meta's up, and they just waltzed right in, and 5 men?
Are they going to react to this?
I mean, they may react, but it may be too slow. Chessie, he's going to chuck a string in there. They see it now, but Roshan, it's almost dead. They got to get inside the pit fast if we want to stop this. The Aghanim Scepter is going to rain some damage in. but they actually do manage to get the kill onto Roshan there, but obviously the important thing, the Aegis picked up, and Zibe's already taken so much damage from the Rupture. He doesn't have Doom for another 12 seconds. The Shiva goes down, the Ember Spirit is dead. Even if they have the Aegis, all the other cores on the side are dead, and Zibe, he just walks away. He has the Stone Gaze up, crystallized, couldn't finish him off. He's gonna get off the Sunder, and yeah, he's got plenty of lives to work with, but you can see 5 men. Instead, they just took down the other cores and left the TB by himself.
Hey, they bought back the Ember as well.
Yeah.
Ember bought back for that. For what?
Why? I think he thought that 5 men was gonna like keep going. He was like, oh god, I mean, we need to take this fight.
Yeah, I can respect that because they still have had Doom, right? So they could possibly pursue, even with Doom being so low, you still could go for a hunt. But it's so hard when you're playing Drow, Medusa, TB kind of drafts. Who's got the high ground really benefits so much, because it's so difficult for TB to stay on the low ground and hit anyone there because you don't have vision, if nothing else. Let's not talk about the mischance.
Yeah.
And the Doom, Zibe just surviving for such a long time. He's such a beast. You can't take him down. 2.6k HP, Shivas, Halberd, BKB. If you go on him, you have to commit everything.
Radiant structures are fortified.
It's that part of the game.
Yep, Ace from the low ground is just going to be able to take that tier 3. And while they do have a DD on Crystallize, Enchant can easily take that away from you, and you still have the problem of your melee hero against the Medusa. And hell, I mean, not just the Medusa, but even Chessie here in this back line checking in the trees. Like, that's going to be another slow you're going to have to worry about, as you can see.
The moment he bought that Aghanim, I don't think he initiated a single fight afterwards.
Yeah.
His playstyle just is completely different now. He's sitting in the back and just tossing those trees at you. I think this game, it really comes down to where you take your fights. Like, that's so important for both of these teams.
Tier 4 items are out. Both teams going to retreat to their side of the map and try and quickly farm them up. I mean, you almost have level 25 on the Medusa. There is a monster power spike. What is it, 1,000 mana, right?
Yep.
The other one is the modifier. So, which is really good with Scotty.
800 mana.
800 mana, right.
Got hit by the percent nurse.
Yeah.
Who took the spell Prism on the side of NaVi, I wonder? When it comes to these neutral items, some of them are really big. Okay, Young G is carrying the spell Prism. The Leveler, obviously, on the Medusa on the other side.
They have their MKB. They want to go for Ace here. Look at that instant Manta going out. Misery jumping in. Stole the Blood Rage here, but looks like he's going to be caught by Crystallize. The Glimmer Cape's not going to be in time to save him. Ace has already taken a decent amount of damage. The Doom goes off onto the Ember Spirit here, and jump in from Chessie. Makes the initiation on a Crystallize. Didn't have enough burst damage to really threaten him here. Zibe's just going to walk through this, take the Rupture damage, and you could see Chessie kind of covering his tracks there. But that was the first showing of this MKB from the TB, and you could see Medusa was taking some serious damage there.
They're still facing this problem on the side of 5-man that they use the Doom, but there's no follow-up afterwards. I think the biggest issue in that fight was that Rubik died, and the playstyle that Tiny is playing at the moment doesn't really complement this Doom jumping in and dooming anyone.
Yeah.
You don't have any catch, you don't have anyone to follow you up and contain the target in a spot.
Then again, at the same time, NaVi, I don't think they got nearly enough done with that. They had Aegis, they had Meta, and they thought to themselves, we got to do something. And OGC, they're like, I don't know if I'm really going to take this team fight. Keep my Stone Gaze in my back pocket here. We're now going to run at your base. And what are you going to do about it?
And they will have a Satanic as well. Right?
Oh, yeah.
That's also pretty big. It's a game such as this one, at this point, is all about these first initiations and where you take your fights, where you choose to fight. It's so easy for 5-men to park their truck in front of your base, put this Ace even on the low ground, and he can take your Raxes and towers.
Okay.
Satanic, yeah, completed.
Did buy have that Satanic. I almost wonder if that means they're not going to go high ground because he doesn't have buyback anymore. But honestly, like, I'm not sure exactly what NaVi would do if Ace just went high ground in that top lane and started hitting the melee barracks, and they don't have meta for the TB. But at this point, it seems like 5 men, they're kind of like, what they've been showing us for the last 15 minutes is they're okay with the state of the game. They feel very confident. They don't really need to make moves, it seems like. They are saying, we're good. We're just going to keep getting bigger over time here. We're comfortable in going late game against you guys, and we will naturally wait for a better advantage.
That's big as well. Crystallizes Daedalus, I think, just got assassinated in that courier.
Oh no.
So the courier was flying with the recipe with the side shop. So he won't have that recipe even if he buys Demon Edge. Yeah,
BKB up for Chess Ace, so he might feel a little bit more comfortable getting in there with the initiation and then getting back out. He also has the Minotaur horn there as well.
Like you said, I don't think 5 men are that worried.
Yeah.
They have still room to grow. Yeah, you're playing versus a TB, but you have this Tiny as well that can finish off a couple of more items, and then suddenly that 3 toss that he's using in every fight is going to wipe your team.
Yeah, and this is why, you know, earlier I kind of referred to it as a single core lineup. Most of this is going to be off the back of the TB. December Spirit and Bloodseeker just aren't going to scale quite as well. And, like, hell, even Doom, right? You can get himself an Aghanim Scepter, which is a really big late game item, especially with your level 25 talent. And Rubik, once again, Misery is going to be first one in and first one out of a team fight. They do manage to get the Rupture onto Zibe, which, again, they're just trying to retreat to this high ground, it looks like. Ace, holding on to the Stone Gaze, keeps thinking about it, finally going to pop it. And NaVi quickly disengaged. So, okay, we cannot fight into Stone Gaze. We got that out of him. We still have some meta to work with here. I wonder if, like, what are they going to do with this timing? Are they just going to keep farming?
They can't really do anything, can they? They can perhaps take over a little piece of the map that has been taken from them. The Dire Jungle, they can ward it up. They can prepare for the next Roshan, perhaps take that outpost. But that's it. You can't really pressure the last 2 remaining tier 2s or the high ground.
It's funny how, like, both teams I think NaVi 100% loses every team fight. They try and go high ground against 5 men, even if some abilities are used or whatever because of buybacks, right? 100% they lose that fight. 5 men, I think that's another thing that's making them skittish about going high ground themselves is we can take them 5-on-5. Can we take them 5-on-5 on a low ground against buybacks so it could be 5v10 for all we know, you know?
Yeah, that's always a problem, pushing high ground and how you take it. You need a couple of pick-offs probably, or at least take that Aegis and Cheese that's coming up in 1.5 minutes. I think that's the play now. If you're Medusa, even though you have MKB, you wait for that rush, you buy the Rapier at the same time, or you buy the items and then you lock them.
Hit that critical mass period time, Chessie. Again, getting hit by the Rupture, tossing away the illusion to save himself some grief. But other than that, oh, Misery jumping forward, steals win run, but they weren't able to get enough to disable to really catch Immersion. He slides away back to the base successfully. Roshan up in 50 seconds, so 5 men, you know they're not going high ground. If they weren't going to do it before, they should absolutely not do it right now.
Yeah, this is the worst. Yeah, this is the worst timing to go for high ground. Like, even if you get the pick off, it's such a bait. It's possible that it works out well, don't get me wrong, but the chance of them buying back, wiping you, and then taking Rosh are extremely high at this point in the game. Satanic also queued up by the Terrorblade. Aghanim is by Ember Spirit, but he's very far away from it.
Catch him on the high ground. He was trying to deward, I think. And Immersion leads a little bit more damage. Oracle saves him just in the nick of time. Is Immersion going to receive enough heals? Looks like it probably is, but Ace is just going to continue pushing forward here. Taking down these TB illusions. The Blood Rites going out on both sides with the Rubik stealing one of them. And Ace, Heaven's Halberd, gets rid of it pretty quickly there thanks to the Satanic, who's raining down some damage, trying to go for the initiation on the Doom there. Crystallize, given a brief reprieve. Chessie kind of stuck out here. The Avalanche goes out. Telekinesis pull back. This TB, he's a little bit low. The Link is trying to protect him. He gets off the Sunder just before the Doom can go out. TB, though, on a second life, instantly gets blown up by Ace. It wasn't close at all. There was just way too much damage. Zibe finds the extra kill into Ilias, and now Na'Vi. They'd use the meta, and they're still going to be forced into a buyback. I don't think 5 men, the Roshan threat, like the threat of losing a fight and losing Roshan, I don't think that's very real anymore.
Yeah, that's a buyback without a meta. So how much will he be able to do? I'm not really sure here. He had to buy back, don't get me wrong. You need to try and defend your last 2 Raxes.
Telekinesis catch. Pulling back in with that Scotty. Zibe with the follow-up stun there from the Centaur stun. Suntear going out Manta and retreat. Can they actually pursue here? It's going to be up to the Ember Spirit to try and keep them from running away too far, but
is this
ultimately,
rush? Yeah. They scouted it just now with the courier, they go back. I actually thought that when they moved into that high ground fight, and when meta was popped, I thought they might even disengage. Okay guys, we pop meta, Rosh is about to spawn, let's just go take it and then slowly finish off the game. But that takes a lot of discipline, and it's difficult to disengage from Na'Vi at that point.
Sure.
So they stood and fought, and they fought well.
Yeah.
Oracle not having that ulti really hurt Na'Vi's chances, because if you are playing the single core like we're harping on about, you need to save that false promise for him, not for the Wind Ranger, no matter how deep and how far he's been caught out.
You just want to deny the range creep. Don't try and save it. Don't heal it.
Exactly.
It's not worth it. Slex is getting so much fun out of this game. He's watching a support Wind Ranger who tanked away an Oracle ultimate that is all important for a TB. I understand exactly why Ilias did it. You know, you're just in like the split second decision-making mode where you're just like, you see a low health hero, you throw it out there, but ultimately, like, what was Immersion able to do with that extra life?
Nothing. He had to run back.
Yeah.
If he lands some 6 shackle, then we're not talking this way. We're not talking about.
Speaking of 6 shackles, that is a free kill on a Pylai die with very low commitment, but the telekinesis is going to put this TB up on the high ground here. That's a bit troublesome. Isn't it? Look at him, he's getting wiped apart. Sunder and the Oracle ultimate both going off, and he rips into the Tiny, but can he deal with this damn Medusa? The permanent threat that is constantly there. Immersion does manage to get that nice shackle shot onto the Doom. They're trying to deal with some of the side lanes, but Ace gets the Stone Gaze hit onto the Ember Spirit. He got stuck in place. And as soon as that happens to any of these cores, they're gone.
Yeah, wrap it up, boys. TB does not have a buyback. Your Medusa is ready to go uphill. He doesn't even have boots. He's 7 slotted at the moment. They won't even go for Rush, it looks like. There is a buyback on Ember, which you will have to use, obviously. But what can an Ember do in this situation? Not a lot, I'm afraid.
So here it is, Ace. Big tank that he is, the big turtle.
Can we say that ranged creep baited them into going on Enchantress?
Yeah, I mean, because then they got the telekinesis that pulled the TB up onto the high ground, right? It would have been a nice clean kill, but really good play by Misery to be able to pull him back, and that is just going to be them running down the tier 4s, and without a TB, again, they were kind of very much all in on this Terrorblade shackle shot. There it is! He hit the shackle!
And Enchantress is dead!
Oh my god!
Yeah.
But they'll remember that. Immersion will remember that 6 shackle he hit.
I think it's sad. I think he'd be happier if he didn't even hit that one. And it's like, okay, I just had the worst game. It can't get any worse than this.
Yeah. Throne will die no matter how much Na'Vi try and stop it here. The Stone Gaze, they can't even get that close to the Medusa. And in the end, took 51 minutes, but slow and steady does win the race.